Today on our 2015 Chevrolet Captiva Sport, we're going to be taking a look at and installing the Roadmaster XL base plate kit with removable arms, part number 3151-1A. Here's what this base plate is going to look like once it's installed on the vehicle. As you can see, it maintains a nice, tight, clean appearance underneath the front fascia here as it just comes out through the lower air dam. This base plate is designed to make it nice and easy for hookup in order to put your removable arms in for attaching to the motorhome. It's got nice clean appearance here, and you've got your opening in order to put that removable arm into. And over here, this little tab with the hole in it's going to match up to a tab just like it on the removable arm, and that way if you want, you can lock them together so that they can't be taken and move your vehicle. The arms are nice and easy to use. Simply slide it in, put your pin through, and then put your clip into your pin, and then you'll be ready to go. But when you're ready to remove them, you just do the opposite. You pull your pin out and your clip and take the arm out. Now, let's go ahead and show you how to install it. First thing we're going to need to do to begin our installation is we'll need to remove our front fascia. In order to do that, we'll need to start by removing our plastic fasteners that tie it down here along our core support. To remove these, you'll need a Phillips head screwdriver in order to begin backing the center screw out. If it doesn't want to come out very well, you can put a small flathead under it just to help provide a little bit of pressure. Once you've got it backed out there, you should be able to pull the whole fastener right out. There's going to be 10 more just like that all across this front cover here. Now I'll need to remove this fastener that's going to function the same way. That's right down here behind the grille, and that secures our fascia to the top of the bumper support. Now, in the fender well, we'll need to remove the two 7mm screws, one down here and one that's tucked right up here. And then we'll repeat that process for the other side. Now underneath, just in front of each fender well, there's going to be two 7mm screws that we'll need to remove in order for that fender liner to come back. And then once you've got those off there, you can peel it back. And if you have fog lights, you'll have nice, easy access to your fog light connector. And on this connector, in order to take it off, you'll just need to pull these tabs out on either side so that you can unclip it and pull it down right off. So then we'll go to the other side and do that same thing. Now underneath on the subframe, we're going to have these two plastic fasteners that we'll need to remove. You can use a flathead screwdriver in order to do that if you don't have a trim panel tool. Just need to get up under the center of it, get that pulled out, and then that fastener should come right out. Now here, along the underside of our fascia, at the bottom of the bumper rail, we're going to have these three screws that we'll need to remove. Two of them are going to have a 7mm head, and one of them is going to have a 10mm head. Now we'll take this plastic guard up top, and we'll lift that and take it off. Here, just outside our support for our radiator, we're going to have 10mm bolt that we're going to need to remove. And then it'll be one in the same position on the other side. Now, it's a good idea to grab an extra set of hands, and in order to remove the fascia, you'll pull out here where it meets the fender to unclip those tabs. And then as you're pulling it off, here we've got the marker light on the side, and we'll need to get that unplugged as we're pulling it off. You can just twist it and remove the bulb. So on this one, on the wiring harness here, we've got a connection that we'll need to remove. So we'll need to pop this gray tab out. You may need a flathead screwdriver to help with that, so you can push that tab down in the center of it right there, and then slide that out. Once you've got it out of there, push down on the tab with your thumb and disconnect it. Then we'll take our fascia and carefully set it aside. Now in our two outer holes on the underside of our front subframe, we're going to be taking a drill and drilling a 1/2 inch hole up through the top part of that subframe in each of them. And then we'll step up drill bit sizes until we've reached a 1/2 inch. Now what I'll do is take one of my plates that's got the threads in it, and I'll set it on top of where I drilled the hole. Now on all the bolts that we'll be using to secure our base plate to the vehicle, we'll be using red Loctite. And if you need some of this, you can get this on our site, part number LT37420. And you'll just need to make sure that you have a little bit on the threads on each bolt. So then when that dries, that'll help lock that bolt in place to ensure that it won't come loose. Then we'll take our main receiver brace, put it up into position, sliding this side up over our radiator support. Then we'll get it lined up, and then take our 4-inch, 1/2 inch bolt with lock washer, slide it up through the hole that we drilled, and begin threading it into that plate that has the threads. Now we'll take a 7/16 bolt, and we'll get our hole lined up on top of our radiator support and insert the bolt with flat washer on the bottom side. And then on the top we'll put the split lock washer and nut. Then we'll do the same thing for the other side. Now we'll take both of our 4-hole plates, and we'll put one in front, and then we'll put a 3/8 bolt from the front through one of the holes on each brace. And then we'll slide our plate over the back side, and we'll put on split lock washer and nut on each of those. And then we'll do the same thing for the other 2 holes. Now we can begin tightening our hardware that's going to hold this to the vehicle. So we'll start with our 3/4 inch bolt on the bottom side. Then for our 7/16 bolt, we'll use an 11/16 wrench and 5/8 socket. Now we'll need to take our removable arms and insert them into position, and then we'll need to measure according to the instructions to make sure that they're spaced properly before we continue. And with that measurement correct, we'll go ahead and tighten our 3/8 bolts that go through our plates. You need a 9/16 wrench and socket for this. In order to drill our holes out here in the bumper core, what you'll need to do is take the measurement from this edge according to the instructions, and then mark it right on the center line of this raised edge here in the bumper. And you'll need to do that for both sides. Now we'll take another one of our 4-inch long 1/2 inch bolts, and then our backing plate, and we want that open edge there to go over this raised portion of the bumper. We'll feed it through so then it comes out the back there. Then we'll put on our lock washer and hex nut. Then we'll do the same thing on this side before we tighten them up. Now with all the hardware installed, we'll go back through and torque them all to the specification listed in the instructions. Off of our fascia, we'll need to take the lower air dam off. So on each side, we're going to have 2 more screws we need to remove. We'll take a 7mm socket, and they'll be in the same location on both sides. So with that air dam off, we'll take that and set it aside so we can trim it later. Now we'll need to take this lower foam absorption pad off of the inside of our fascia so that we can line it up and trim out what's going to be necessary in order to get it to fit with those plates now on the front of the bumper. You can take a flathead screwdriver or trim panel tool, anything like that, in order to pry these off of here. It's going to be 1 on each side. So we'll put it up into position, get it lined up and centered. And then looking from underneath, we'll be able to look to see where those blocks are, so we know the width of what we're gonna have to trim out in order to get the clearance we need. With my marks from the bottom side, I drew those up just to help keep it in line to give me a good guide. So now I'm gonna use a utility knife in order to just cut down a little bit to give me the clearance that I'm gonna need. And then when you're done, it should look something like this, because this should give you plenty of clearance away from those backing plates. Once you're done trimming the foam absorption pad, it's a good idea just to test fit it and make sure that it's gonna fully seat down against the bumper. And if it does, then we can reinstall it to our fascia. We've gone ahead and marked that lower air dam according to the instructions so that we know what areas we'll need to cut out. So now I'm gonna start with a utility knife and begin scoring that so that I can cut that out. So once we've got these scored and a nice cut on them, we'll be able to go to the back side and cut on this line here along the edge in order to free this up in order to get those out. We're gonna be using a rotary tool like a Dremel in order to do this. But if you don't have one of these, you can use a utility knife. So then we can pop the section that we need to cut out right out, and now you can see we've got a good opening here. With all the trimming done, we can put all of our screws back in and reinstall the lower air dam. Now we can put our fascia back up into place, and you want to be sure that as you put it back on, you reconnect any electrical connections that you took off. Then we'll reinstall all of our hardware the same way that we removed it. And then the final thing is putting the quick links through the holders right up here in order to connect your safety chains. That's going to complete our look at and installation of the Roadmaster XL base plate kit with removable arms, part number 3151-1A on our 2015 Chevrolet Captiva Sport.
Click the link below to shop, learn more, or visit us at eTrailer.com.